Arsenal versus PSG, PSG versus Arsenal. We are in Paris. Manny, are you ready for this game? Welcome to the recap. Manny, PSG versus Arsenal, brother. Are you going to put PSG fan for this leg because they knocked out Madrid?
Yeah, they got to get our leg back, man. Destroy them. If you got to put up 5 goals, do it, man. I want Arsenal crying at the end of this.
I don't think Arsenal's going to cry because Arsenal's been used to the last couple of seasons of bottling a league. Bottling a Champions League, tomato. It's the same thing. But what can we say about this next game, man?
I think we're going to get a little more of the same. I think Arsenal is just not going to stand a chance. They were up on their high horse. They took out Madrid, the current champions, current La Liga champions. They felt they were unstoppable now that they eliminated Madrid. But Madrid have been having a horrible year. I'm not sure if people haven't been watching. If all they see is the score lines, like Madrid just scraping by, but Madrid's been very, very bad this season. And I think Arsenal just got a little too ahead of themselves, and PSG just hit them with a reality check.
See, I think a lot of us got false hopes after we saw Arsenal I don't want to say dominate, but beat Madrid. But then again, after the first leg versus PSG, if you go rewatch the Arsenal versus Madrid game, you're like, okay, Madrid has been shitty. Claiming a victory over Madrid this year is like claiming a victory over Man City this year. But Man City, I think, has been a little bit worse, but Madrid's been playing really bad, and a mid-table team in La Liga is beating them, or a low-level team in La Liga is tying to them. So we all had this false hope, false narrative of, yo, Arsenal just knocked out Madrid. We know who Madrid is in the Champions League. This is going to be a really good game against PSG. And then we tuned in and PSG dominated. PSG played the way they wanted to. Even when Arsenal was quote unquote a little bit more dominant, had a little bit more ball, PSG was in control. Obviously, Donnarumma was clutch. He was very clutch. He did 2-3 saves that were vital, fundamental to the game. Because or else without that, Arsenal would have went up. And that gives me hope for the second game. Obviously, Arsenal doesn't have a striker, which to me is where they struggle a bit, because if you don't have a striker, you don't have a player that can put it in the net. That is a talent itself. If you don't have a player that can put it in the net, you were a step behind. And PSG do have those strikers. PSG have a good system. Arsenal has a great system with Arteta. Arteta's a really good manager, systematically. But when you have Merino as your striker, I mean, the guy can crack, don't get me wrong. The guy can crack, but he's not a striker. So in this second leg, seeing the fact that Duma was very fundamental gives me hope that we might see a back and forth game. But if Dembele is fit, I think it's going to be hard for Arsenal.
Yeah, Dembele is in Ballon d'Or conversations. He's got 30 goal contributions in the last 25 matches, and it seems like nobody can just like clamp him up. He just always comes off with a goal. Every single match, he's got a goal contribution. And I don't think Arsenal is a great team. I think Arteta has been coaching his ass off. I think he's got them playing at a great level, but I don't see the hype around them. They're second in their league. They're not anywhere near first place. They only made it this far, because you got Madrid in the last round, and who did they play in the round before that?
PSV.
PSCU advanced by beating PSV. You smack them around. You put up, what was it, 7-1 in one match, and
Yeah,
it's
something like
just
that.
like you got to see who you're playing. It's not like you're dominating these top teams. PSG came after knocking out the Premier League champion, a team better than Arsenal, and they look dominant in that round. And I just don't think Arsenal can compete.
If you're PSG, do you kind of sit back, play in the counter, or you just keep playing the same type of football? Possession football, keep pressing and pressing and try to get one or two up the board and then just be defensively sound?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of teams that park the bus and sit back because, you make an error and you concede a goal, or you just start getting cooked and it just doesn't look good. So I believe you show up and you just try to score as many goals as you can. At the end of the day, the team that advances is the team that scores more goals than the other.
Yeah, the feeling in the PSG camp is that Arsenal's going to come for it. Arsenal's going to try to score some goals, but that means that they're going to leave spaces in the back. And they're going to try to exploit that with Dembele. And then that youngster, the 18-year-old, what's his name? He's a French kid. He played
Due?
Doué, yeah, with Dembele and Doué, and then I don't know if Barcola is gonna play, but they're gonna try to expose those those avenues and catch Arsenal in the counter, which we know Luis Enrique can do that type of game because if you track back to Barcelona versus Arsenal when we had Ney, Suarez, and Messi, I'm not saying this PSG is that, but they scored goals off the counter. So what I'm saying is Luis Enrique knows how to set up his team. So like, hey, don't press too high. Let them come a little bit. We're going to play the error, take the ball away, and boom, smack them on the counter.
Dog, and also Hakimi, he had dipped in form,
Yeah,
for the past couple seasons, but he just bounced back. He's looking like top three, top two, right back in the world. You got Nuno Mendes can
yeah,
just get up there in a second and score or assist. They're a real dangerous team on the counter.
they are. They are. And then, they're pretty good. Not pretty good. They're really good and solid in each line. If you go player by player, they got really good players and not like you're saying top five, top three players in each position.
Yeah, that midfield is amazing. They got great forwards. Their back line is very solid. And I think Donnarumma is better than what most people give him credit for.
It could be true. I don't give him that much credit, but he was very, very good on the first game. What do you think are some keys to success for
Think
Arsenal?
for Arsenal, they need a miracle, if I'm being honest. I don't see them advancing anyway. And PSG is looking like they're on to the next one.
With Arsenal, I think Saka, Martinelli, and the midfield need to be on point. Also, you know who I really like? Raya. He's a really good keeper.
Oh, he's
But
a
I
great
honestly think,
goalkeeper.
yeah, I think that the keys are Saka and Martinelli, and then Rice and Odegaard because Odegaard was kind of a ghost on that first game. So those four players can link up. They might give Arsenal a chance to win. But for PSG, my keys to success are Dembele and Luis Enrique. Because if Luis Enrique plays Luis Enrique ball and they execute it to, what he wants, I don't see Arsenal advancing to the next round.
Yeah, I think they got the manpower to play that really elite countering style of football. And if we just go player for player, I believe PSG just has better players than Arsenal overall.
What is the scoreline?
I don't think it'll be too crazy. I think PSG will be countering. I think it'll end 2 or 3-0.
That is kind of crazy. 2 or 3-0, that is
Nah,
crazy.
PSG's got the players to destroy
Yeah.
them, but I give them a cool 2 or 3-0.
I think it's going to be like 1-1 or 2-1. Something simple like that. Because Arsenal, I mean, their backline, even though they have injuries, they're still good. And they're a defensively sound team. In attack, they're also good on the wings, but just not the strikers. I think like 2-1 or 1-1, 2-1 or 1-1, and then PSG going through.
Yeah, but Arsenal's gonna have to play fast, play quick. They're gonna have to press hard, and I think that will cause a bit of errors, and I don't think that defense will be too comfortable against PSG.
Man, any last words before we sign off?
Hey, a la Madrid.
This guy. You're not even
PSG,
playing, bro. You're not even in the semifinal. What are you talking about? You're
PSG is
home.
Madrid 2.0.
Anyways, hopefully you enjoy this type of video. If you do, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Make sure to send this type of video to anybody, and I mean anybody that has some football knowledge or zero football knowledge. See you here in the next video.